Assalamu alaikum, hey, and welcome to the Muslim Life Coach Institute podcast. This is Abdul Shahid, master coach, trainer, and therapist, and this is where I help you to coach yourself and your clients on how to overcome anxiety, fear, and all of the emotional baggage that keeps so many of us stuck in our minds, our lives, and our relationships. Bismillah. Hey guys, welcome to this week's episode of the podcast where I want to dive into the subject of doubt, self-doubt, doubting in possibility of creating the life that you want, doubting in the opportunities that come your way, doubting in people, doubting in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now the last one is obviously one that we don't do purposely, but it kind of creeps in, and it creeps in not that you doubt in the Creator, but you doubt in whether or not you're being supported. You doubt in whether or not you're going to get the results that you want. You doubt in whether you get the answers to the dua that you make. This subject of doubt is actually such a common one in my work. When I'm training my coaches, when I'm taking my clients, my students through a process of transforming their lives, like one of the biggest things that they all struggle with, and this is most people, it's not just my students and my trainee coaches, this is humanity at large. It's the thing that actually destabilizes us and actually zaps your energy, has you forever overworking, overwhelming, forever in a state of fear and anxiety, or the negative feelings that overcome you at certain times in your life. Now, doubt is one of the causal factors. And it's one of the things that knocks your confidence. And even if you are a leader, even if you are someone who creates change in the world, actually puts the work out there that impacts the lives of others, even if you're that person, you're going to be plagued with doubt. And actually what I find with the most successful people, the people who are living their lives, impacting their own life and the lives of others around them, is that as they grow, the higher you go, the more you have to actually deal with this subject, because you're the one leading from the front, and that means that you have to deal with a certain amount of uncertainty as you go through life. And when you do that, it's almost like we're plagued with these doubts. We doubt ourselves, and we have a lot of incessant thinking about what could possibly go wrong and what could possibly even go right. And we fear that. What if it goes right and there's a change that throws my life off track? Because we're used to the life that we're in, and we keep on repeating the same process. So if you want change, you're going to almost always have to deal with the uncertainty and the doubt that comes around with the change, that comes around with growth, with development, with success. Like, success is accompanied with doubt, but not the type of doubt that destabilizes you. And that's what I want to share with you in this podcast. Because look, many a times what we do is that we're experiencing this sense of doubt, and we almost have this internal feeling of being a fraud, and you feel like your perceived exterior isn't congruent with your interior. Like, how you feel, what's going on inside doesn't quite match up, and everyone else is looking at you thinking what an amazing success, and you're so confident, and so whatever it is that they think about you, but you've got this exterior, and people see you as this successful person, this role model, and you're feeling on the inside like, this isn't, I don't know if this is my place. I don't know if I can do this. I'll do it anyway because I'm a hard worker, I'm resourceful, I'll make it work, but I feel like a fraud all the way there. And there creeps in the doubt. So if you notice, like, you're having this internal dialogue about the opportunities in front of you. Life presents you with a whole bunch of things that you can do every day. You can grow and develop every day. But as soon as that happens, like, the doubts creep in. So leadership in our lives, and that's what you've been created for. So just in case you didn't know, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Kullukum ra'in," like all of you are shepherds. In other words, all of you are leaders. And that means that That's what you've been created for. That's like an innate characteristic that you have to nurture. It's innate. It's already there within you. And what we need to do is we need to nurture that. But often what prevents that is these unnoticed doubts. And we don't, many a times we're not even thinking it's the doubt until it becomes so incessant that it plagues you. When it plagues you, it plagues you because you're falling into a constant state of, emotional highs and lows. And it's when you hit those lows that you realize that actually I'm actually experiencing a level of fear, a level of anxiety or overwhelm or burnout. And burnout is very normal in this situation, because when you're a doer, then what you go to do is like do lots and lots of stuff just to cover up like how you feel, just to cover up what you're experiencing so that you don't have to experience it, so that you can escape. It's almost like escaping yourself. But really what you're trying to do is you're trying to escape the emotions that you're experiencing. And when we do that, we often don't even notice what it was that caused it. And we attribute it to external factors, things that are going on around us. And what I want to say to you is that it's actually very normal, and we all experience it to a degree, but it's not normal when it becomes, incessant. It's not normal when it destabilizes every choice you make, every opportunity that presents itself to you, every time you're about to take a decision on a direction in your life, that your doubts destabilize you. Your doubts throw you into a state of mental paralysis. Because when we get into that, even though we're moving, we're taking action, we're doing it from a place of fear and anxiety or worry about what the possible outcomes are going to be. So then we always downplay our lives. And this is what prevents you. This is like the cap. This is the glass ceiling that actually prevents you from creating the life that you could create if you tapped into your potential. And what's preventing it is what? Again, it's those doubts. So how do you know you're doing it? How do you know it's even happening? What if this is happening to you, but you don't recognize it? So here's a couple of ways that you're going to know that it's happening to you, right? Now, many a times when you're feeling this and you're feeling a little bit, uneasy, let's call it, you cover it up with laughter or humor, or maybe you're a witty person and it's the wit that comes out, and maybe sometimes it's a little bit of banter, right? You cover it up through conversation, through social interaction. That's one of the ways that we cover it up. Another way that we cover it up is that we become real productive. We become achievement seekers, and we're after achievement, and it helps us to redirect our focus away from what we're not liking the experience of, and we can cover it up quickly with an achievement, because the achievement makes you feel good, right? The more productive you are, the harder you work, the better you feel. So when you cover it up, what it actually does is that it's like as though you've got, imagine this, on the ground of your life, there's this huge hole in the ground. And what you're doing is you're covering it up with your achievements. So whatever that achievement is, that level of productivity and all of the things that you cover it up with. But actually those achievements, they're just things. And things are like twigs. So you cover up a big hole with a bunch of twigs, eventually it's going to cave in. And when it caves in, that's when you hit an all-time low. And you know that because that's when you start to feel burnout, because no matter how many twigs you put on there, no matter how many achievements you put on there, you're not able to escape the experience that you're having, the overwhelm, the burnout, the feeling exhausted. Like, wallahi, I know what this is like. On a personal note, I understand this 100%. But also on a professional note, I deal with high achievers. I deal with like super productive people that are out there creating like amazing things in the world, but they find themselves in this situation and no one else can see it except them. So if that's you, you know exactly what I'm talking about, because no one else can see it. Everyone thinks everything is amazing, and on the face of it, it looks amazing, but inside you struggle, and you struggle to the point that you feel like there's no way out sometimes. And there is always a way out. There's always a way out. But I want you to understand that what's causing it is, the behavior that we exhibit in trying to cover it up. And you don't have to be in that situation all the time. You don't have to stay in that. You can actually get out of it. The uncomfortable feeling is something that is present in your life, and the further you run from it, the more you cover it up. So it's a strange feeling sometimes, and you know it because sometimes there's this awkward silence, right? There's no one else around, but there's this awkward silence. You don't feel comfortable with just sitting by yourself. That silence is something that you want to escape. And I see so many of my students, my clients, my coaches even, like when they first come in, as they're going through a life transformation, this is what they're facing. And they don't like downtime, because downtime means that they have to face these feelings, these emotions, these experiences. They have to face themselves. And in that facing of themselves, they find it highly uncomfortable. And it's a destabilizing factor in your life, because can you imagine, because you don't like sitting with yourself, you're always forever escaping yourself, and you're going to achievements and actions and helping other people and doing all of the things that you do, but you're not helping yourself. So here's the thing. Listen, many of you know that I train coaches and therapists, and as a part of the certification program, one of the things that I'm always saying, this is a conversation that I have with all of the people that come on this journey with us. As a part of your journey, you absolutely have to not cover it up, not put a bunch of twigs over the gaping hole. What you need to do is you need to fill that hole. You need to make it solid. Your solid ground is the ground that you will stand on, and you will stand strong and tall. And when you can do that, then you absolutely transform your life, because from that you have a solid foundation. And this is why no matter what we do, whether it's in the NAFS transformation program or certification, whatever it is, we're always focused on actually resolving the issues, not avoiding the issues. And resolving the issues doesn't mean getting confrontational. It doesn't mean, messing things up, sabotaging ourselves. It means actually dealing with what we can deal with, in the most amicable way to get the best results. And in the science of the nafs, that's what we're focused on. So look, as you can see, I'm leading on to here, all of this behavior, as you can see, it leads on to a kind of self-sabotage, right? Because it disconnects us. Because when we're in this state, what will happen is that, we're sabotaging ourselves because we're not dealing with it and we're running from it. And when that happens, then you're just plagued with more and more doubt. And when you're constantly plagued with all of these doubts, then what happens is that you become disconnected in your spiritual connection, right? This is one of the actual solutions to all of this. Because think about doubt. Doubt is something that if you're listening to this, my guess is doubt is something that you've struggled with. And self-doubt or doubting in others, whatever it is, that doubt, it actually prevents you from creating connections, right? Whether it be with your spouse, your children, your boss, your employees, whatever it is, doubt is something that actually impacts all of your relationships. And the most important relationship that it actually impacts is that spiritual connection, your connection to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when that happens, then what it actually does is that it impacts our mental health, your spiritual health, your mental health. The two are intertwined. And when you are not willing to actually deal with it and you just want to cover it up, then all you're doing is delaying the effects of it. But as the effects of it are delayed, also is the gravity of the impact that it will have later. So what we want to do, and what I'm suggesting to you in this podcast, is I want you to actually just sit with it. Feel that discomfort, because it's just a feeling. It's not going to do anything to you. And just recognize what's actually happening here. Recognize, pinpoint the very thoughts and feelings that you're having, and understand. And I want you to make a disassociation between your thoughts and feelings and everything external. Because we have a tendency to go to everything external to try and sort our thoughts and feelings out. But the problem is, when you do that, what you're really doing is you're apportioning the blame or the cause of it to everything outside of your control. And what I want you to do is I want you to focus in on what your part in this is, what you can do to help yourself. That thought, that feeling, the doubt, like all of that, these doubts, they're thoughts, right? So all of this, when you can understand like what's really creating it, and you can sit with it in the discomfort without running a mile, then what's going to happen is you're going to learn a lot in that process, and you can actually learn that you can actually do something about it. You can actually live, I'm not saying live with it, but you can live with it for long enough to actually find the causal factors. And this is what we work on throughout all of the coaching that we do. We're always looking for the causal factors. We want to deconstruct it and actually break it down and delete it. And at that place, when you can get to the core of it, then, this is like a peak of awareness. When you get to that level of awareness that you're able to pinpoint exactly where it's coming from, and then you take the tools that I'm teaching you through this process, like through all of these podcasts, through the trainings that I do, like when you take it and apply it into your life, then what's going to happen is you're going to start to get rid of some of that doubt. You're going to start to take control, and you're going to instill in you certainty. So that spiritual connection is something that you need to rejuvenate. You need to work on that all the time, because that actually serves as a source of your connection, as a source of your, what do I want to say, like your well-being. And we're not talking about resilience. Resilience is just getting by. We're talking about actually your well-being, as in being well and feeling good, and actually being able to deal with life and anything that life presents you, be it good or bad. You can deal with it with the best results. And when you can do that, then you can take your life to a different level. Your relationships will go to a different level. Like the way that you connect with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the way you feel secure, the way that you just live your life and show up in your daily life will change completely. So you've got to work on that. And I want to keep this short, because I know that I've talked about a lot of stuff here, but it's all intertwined. And so if you need to, go back and listen to this again and really pay attention to the solutions. The solution is always going to be your spiritual connection, your psychological state, and these two are intertwined. If you try and separate them and deal with them separately, then you go to traditional, that's the traditional psychology model. We don't do that. The science of the nafs it's a holistic science. A human being is a holistic being, a combination of spiritual, psychological, and physiological. All of those three are what makes you up. And that's how you need to deal with yourself. That's how you need to deal with all of the issues. The doubts, they will be wiped out. They'll be wiped out, or they will be minimized, and the effects of them will be totally minimized, if not changed completely, is by you actually instilling certainty into your life. And when you instill that certainty into your life, it brings about a calm of mind. It brings about a real calm in your mind. And gaining that calm gives you like an emotional balance and awareness and feeling good in everything in your life. And that's what we want to do. So I hope this makes sense. And as you know, this podcast is not just me rambling on. My aim with this is to coach you through your life challenges and help you to overcome all of these obstacles. So inshallah, I'm going to leave you on that. Jazakumullah khair. Hey, if you're ready to actually take the steps to transform your life, I want to invite you to join me on the NAFS Life Transformation Coaching Program, where I help you to take the steps to making the transformation of your mind, your relationships, and your life. Just go over to themuslimlifecoach.org/live. That's muslimlifecoach.org/live.